So I came across a story that I just had to pass on. I don't really know where to go with this, but it is a strange story, especially if you live in the Chicago area or just in Illinois in general. This might potentially affect you if you care about gun rights. The story heading here on guns.com, citing PTSD, Illinois woman sues state for more gun control. Now, I'm not going to go through this entire article word by word, but I'm going to hit a few high points here. It says Demetria Powell, Tanya Reese, and Tawana Patrick filed a suit in federal court on Wednesday naming various state agencies and Republican Governor Bruce Rauner, I don't know how you say his name, as plaintiffs. Each woman has lost a family member to gun violence and has a minor child or grandchild that has been diagnosed with PTSD that they chalk up to area shootings. As such, they argue that Rauner and state agencies, by not upping gun control regulations, are violating the Americans with Disabilities Act and the Illinois Civil Rights Act. It says, we all know that gun crimes are flooding our cities, killing our children. But it's also destroying emotionally, psychologically, in the most profound ways the survivors, the children who are not left dead by this epidemic of violence. I mean, they're suing for more gun control. They're saying that because there's not enough gun control, it's causing PTSD in children. But then they go into the racial aspect of it. All right? They go into this whole thing about gun trafficking and talking about how these shootings are affecting the black areas more than the white areas who have lower homicide rates. It says the defendant's failure to issue reasonable gun trafficking regulations in order to reduce the level of gun violence to which the plaintiff children are exposed under the authority granted to the Illinois Department of State Police has had an adverse effect on the African American children in that they have endured and continue to endure effects of gun violence, causing them to become disabled and preventing them from obtaining a public education. I mean, I feel like they're really reaching here. Like this is quite a stretch that they're going for here, saying that this not only causes PTSD, but it causes mental disabilities that prevent them from getting a better education. It goes on, and the lawsuit, I'm sure this is going to become something that we talk a lot about in the future, but it seems absolutely ridiculous in my opinion. I mean, they are equating higher violence rates in the black communities, saying that these are creating PTSD cases in children who then, for that reason, don't go to school and can't obtain an education and have no chance in life. They're equating that with gun control, which makes no sense. Look, we all know that the issue of higher violence, higher gun crime rates, higher homicide rates, higher incarceration rates in areas that are more predominantly black and in some cases Hispanic. We know there are many reasons for that. And nobody's trying to say, well, because you're black, you cause more violence, because that's stupid. We know that's not true. There are societal impacts that have been imparted on a lot of these communities over the years, usually due to left-leaning democratic policies in government that create more ghettos instead of helping to fix these communities. One of the things that they do in areas specifically like Chicago is restrict guns the way they do. The war on drugs is a whole other thing that helps cause a lot of these problems when it comes to a lot of the gun violence, a lot of the stuff that's going on. But in no way, shape, or form does more gun regulations equate to less violence or less issues in these communities. It is statistically unfactual. Period. There's no way in which you can say that if we only had more gun regulations, these black kids would be able to make it through school. The two simply don't go together. They just don't hook up. They don't connect. It's not a valid argument. But of course, we are talking about Illinois. We are talking about the Chicago area in general. We know how the people there, like Rahm Emanuel and many other politicians in that area, how they tend to do things. So of course, many anti-gunners are going to jump on the bandwagon of this lawsuit. And of course, it is only natural since they're going after the Republican governor of the state. They're not going after Rahm Emanuel. They're not going after anybody from Chicago where this violence is actually happening. No, they look the other way for all the things that actually do cause the violence. They look the other way when the gun control in Chicago doesn't stop these horrible things from happening. But let's go after a Republican governor, right? Because I'm sure that's what's going to solve all the problems. I'm sure gun control, which obviously doesn't work in the Chicago area where these people are experiencing these issues, I'm sure more of it on a statewide level is surely going to solve the problem.